I'm coming. If you hand over to government to maintain, they budget the money and share it.
To live in that particular place that the house is. So it's supposed government to really compensate them so that and pay them and relocate them to where they are going and build another house for them.
Careful engineering and management to meet human needs. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Property Doctor. On this show, we talk about the acquisition of properties, the maintenance and the management of properties to help you save time, money, and to make sure you have peace of mind. You can connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube at Property Doctor NG, and on Twitter at Property Doc NG. You can call us if you have the opportunity to do so on 0903 123 9999. Today we'll be talking about the maintenance of our boreholes. Water is very important to man for washing, for drinking, for cooking, cleaning, and guess what, even in construction and many other places. So if you're staying in the urban areas or in the cities, you have the privilege of getting water from the water board or water corporation, as you can call it, in those areas. But in the cities, some people still do not have water in Africa. They do not get water from this water corporation or from the water board. So we need to do something because water is very, very important. We have different natural sources of water in our environment. We have water from the river, from the sea, from the lakes, from rain, from the well, from springs, and even the borehole. This is very good if it is done properly by an expert. That means getting water from the borehole is very good. You see, when we talk about getting water from the borehole, you need the right person to do the job. And for the right person to do the job, the person must be the right person to do the right job in the right way. This is very important. If you say getting a professional is very expensive, then try getting a quack or a non-professional on a particular job. You realize that the same job will be more expensive. That means it will cost you more money to do. So as we are talking about maintaining our boreholes, we will look at tips on little things that we can do to make sure the borehole works properly. In some places, people dug wells. Well, this is good and cheaper than borehole, but maintaining it may become a problem because sometimes you find algae on the walls of the well or fungi, or you find different plants growing on the walls of the well. And this might not be good for the water we will drink or for cooking. Sometimes rodents like rats, rabbits, they fall into the well, or reptiles like lizards and so on fall into the well and die there. And this may become pollution of the water. It might cause pollution of the water or contamination of the water. But with technology, in some places, people started using the means of borehole to get water, both for industrial use and for personal use or home use. Borehole enables us to get water from the ground, even as deep as 60 meters to 150 meters, or even more. I had one borehole in one of the sites, and I had water flowing under the ground like a river. God is great. Now, when you get to this level of the depth of the ground and you get water there, you need to bring out this water by the means of pumping machine. So you use the submersible pump inside the borehole to bring water to the earth surface, whereby you can now fill your water containers or your tanks and reservoirs. Sometimes you may even need another pumping machine on the surface, on the earth surface, to redistribute the water in different areas of the buildings. Most times you have problems with getting water from the boreholes. Maybe the pump is faulty, or you have other electrical problems with the borehole, or maybe the switch is faulty, or there's a breakage in the cable. Maybe the cable too has its own problems, or other electrical parts may have problems. And we can also have some problems like mud getting into the pipes. That is when you don't do full casing in the pipes. Now let's look at ways we can manage our boreholes so that we can have clean water always. You can also watch our video or our previous video on water tank maintenance to ensure you get clean water always. Because when you get water from the borehole, you need to place it in a clean container. But first, let's make sure that your borehole gets water always. You need a survey plan to help you know where the right source of water is, where that is where you have more water under the ground when you need to drill a borehole. You know, some people experience low quantity of water in some seasons, but when a survey is done, you get the best location of water deep inside the ground. They have machines to do that. So you get an expert to help you drill the borehole. And you can also use the manual method. Some people say you can use the manual method. I have not done that. I don't know how easy that will be, but if you need a borehole, get an expert to use the machines and check where you have more water under the ground surface so that you make sure that you get good amount of water at all seasons and in large quantity. So you use a good quality submersible pumping machine. The depth of the borehole, the size of the borehole and its use, the height of the reservoir will help you determine what type and strength of pumping machine you will need to buy so that your borehole will be working properly. So how do you maintain the borehole? You need filter change. Sometimes after the borehole has worked for some time, you will need to change the filters to make sure that the water coming into the tank is always clean. The UV bulb too has to be changed, you know, regularly to make sure that when it's not working, at least you check it when it's not working, then you change the UV bulb, that is the ultraviolet bulb. Now do a complete system check. You know, you check the mechanical area and check the electrical area to make sure that both of them are working properly. You need to check your pipes and ensure that mud has not entered into the pipes. The electrical cables are working. Usually, the visual inspection of pipe works and its components helps you know when there is a problem inside. Like if you're not getting the regular amount of water from the borehole, or at the speed which the borehole is pumping water is not coming at that regular speed, you know there's a problem somewhere. So you check your pumps as well, both the submersible and the surface pumps. Most of the time you need somebody to help you check only when you see that the problem is coming up gradually. Now check the electrical connections to make sure there is no breach in the wire, your switches are working very well, and the pumping machine is working very well. Also carry out water quality tests if it is required, especially if there is a change of color in the water. If your water changes color, maybe muddy, or if the color changes from clear color, then you know that there is a problem somewhere. And if the water has taste, it also signifies that there is a problem. So you need to check that all the time to make sure you have clean water at all times. Now clean your tanks regularly or when necessary. You can watch our episode, like I told you earlier on water tank maintenance. Some people stay in areas where there is no power supply to power the pumps. These days, you can use solar energy to power your machines. You can recall that in some places where you have the system to pump water from the borehole, people find it very difficult. You see them pumping water, they keep doing something like this, up and down, a mechanical action so that you can get water from the borehole. Please let's make our lives easier by introducing solar pumps. And you can do without the inverter instead of storing the power into the inverter. So you can use the day to pump water for use. It's very important to note that you do not dig or drill a borehole by a soakaway or by a refuse dump. It's very, very important so that the water is not contaminated or polluted by all these things, the refuse or water from the soakaway seeping into the borehole or your wells. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Property Doctor. I hope you have learned something today. Please remember to click the subscribe button so that you can get notification whenever a new episode comes up. We hope to see you same time next week. We have something very interesting to discuss with you. Until then, remain blessed and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.
I'm coming. If you hand over to government to maintain, the budget the money and share it.
To live in that particular place that the house is. So it's supposed government will compensate them so that and pay them and relocate them to where they are going and build another house for them.
Careful engineering and management to meet human needs.